Thank you very much for the invitation to this Lumini BBB conference. And so the subject of this talk will be some representation theory of this newly defined algebra, shifted quantum affine algebras, that I plan to relate to some categorification of cluster algebras on one side, and also some aspects of Lagrange duality. So I will first explain some motivation to study this representation theory. So the first part of the talk will be not very precise, and then in the second part, I will give precise theorem. So there are, in fact, it works. So two kinds of motivations. So the first sets of motivations are related to quantum field theory. So maybe you heard this already in some talks. So it's well known that supersymmetric gauge theory of dimension 3 is not difficult to define in terms of mathematical statements. However, very interesting mathematics and geometric structure can be obtained from the theory. So in particular, certain complex algebraic symplectic varieties named Higgs branches and Coulomb branches. So I briefly recall that from G, a complex reductive group acting on the vector space M, which has some symplectic form omega, and with the action of the group G, which is compatible with omega. So that is to say, omega is preserved by the action of G. Then we have a corresponding supersymmetric gauge theory, and these varieties. So that's one of the outcomes of the theory, which can be properly defined in terms of mathematics. So for the Higgs branch, we have varieties which are known for a long time, quiver varieties in particular. And relatively recently, Braverman, Finkelberg, and Nakajima gave a precise mathematical definition of Coulomb branches, which are remarkable new varieties, and which are expected to be related to Higgs branches by what is called symplectic duality in the terminology of Braden, Licata, Proudfoot, and Webster. And this will also play a role in some part of my talk. So these Coulomb branches include important examples of known varieties, in particular slices and generalized slices in affine Grassmannians. So they have remarkable properties, and one property is that they come naturally with deformation quantization. So because there are some natural C-star action on the varieties, and then there are some certain non-commutative products which can be obtained on homological or case-theoretical Coulomb branches, depending on the definition which is used. So we get what are called quantized Coulomb branches, so which are certain non-commutative rings. So for the homological part, they are known to be related to shifted Youngians, more precisely certain quotient of shifted Youngians, which are called truncated shifted Youngians, which were, so these shifted Youngians were for type A studied by Brendan Klefscheff in relation to the study of W algebras. And they were related to Coulomb branches by Kamilzer, Webster, Weeks, Jacobi, and Nakajima, Weeks for general types. And then there is also the case-theoretical version of Coulomb branches. And recently, in 2017, Finkelberg and Silbaliuk defined remarkable algebras, shifted quantum affine algebras, which are related to the study of case-theoretical Coulomb branches. So this is one part of my motivation for this work, and I would like also to discuss a second set of motivations closely related to my recent works, and which is related to slightly different physical context, that is to say quantum integrable systems. So in the study of such system, more precisely in the computation of the spectrum of partition functions and Baxter Q operators, it is known since the works of Bajanov, Lukyanov, and Zamolodchikov that certain representations of Q oscillators algebras and contracted quantum groups play an important role for SL2, and they allow to have interesting information on the spectra of these systems. And in fact, we, in some joint work with Jimbo and then with Frankel, we obtain such an approach for general types. And we studied in this context certain representations of Borel subalgebra of quantum affine algebra. And this allows in particular to prove the existence of certain Baxter polynomials related to these quantum integrable systems. And I will go back also to these points, which will be used for some results. So, yes, so this representations are representation a priori for subalgebra, a strict subalgebra of quantum affine algebra, an analog of the usual Borel algebra. And one point which is a bit which appears in this theory, that the relevant simple representations, I mean relevant to study the partition function, the Q operators, are not representation of the full quantum affine algebra, but just on the Borel. It can be proved that the action cannot be extended to the quantum affine. So then there is a question of what should be the replacements for the affine quantum group. And so there is a first hint which was discovered by Wafeng Zhang, which would study certain examples of prefundamental representations, which are representations which are used in the study of the spectra, and he studied this representation in terms of shifted Youngans. So all these motivations, 1 and 2, give a hint in order to develop a representation theory of this shifted quantum algebra, in which I was interested in recently. So, so these were the motivations. So now I would like to go to more precise definitions and results. So I will first recall some facts and about usual ordinary quantum affine algebras. So we start with G, which is a finite dimensional Lie algebra over C. Then there is a related infinite dimensional Lie algebra, G affine, which is a affine Kac-Moody algebra, well-known algebra, Lie algebra, which can be defined as a central extension of the loop algebra, LG, where the scalars, the complex, are replaced by Laurent polynomial in formal variable t. So L is C t plus minus 1. And then we can introduce Q in C star, which is a quantization parameter, a complex number which is not a root of unity. And it's well known in the theory of quantum groups of Drinfeld-Jimbo that it's possible to deform not really the Lie algebra, but the universal enveloping algebra of G affine. And we get quantum affine algebra, so Q deformation of the enveloping algebra, which preserves some of the important properties, in particular the Hopf algebra structure. So it is a Hopf algebra. So that is to say, in particular, we have a coproduct and an antipode, and it's possible to define dual and tensor product of representations of this algebra. And in particular, we have some interesting tensor categories of representations. So this representation have been intensively studied from a long time, from various points of view. Among representations, finite dimensional representations are particularly interesting. One of the reasons is that they are closely related to quantum integrable systems that I mentioned previously. So it is the category, they form a category which is non-semi-simple, non-braided in general, and there are many open problems. In particular, for example, the dimension of simple modules is not known in general. So there are various approaches, and I would like to mention that there is an important geometric approach to study the representation of these algebras in the context of Quaver varieties. And there are also methods coming from categorification of cluster algebras, from which one can also get information on the structure of these categories. And so I will go back to this powerful method in the following. So now I would like to discuss these shifted quantum-affine algebras, which are a variation of this quantum-affine algebras as defined by Finkelberg and Tymbaluk. So we consider mu, which is a co-weight, that is to say, a weight of the Langlands dual Lie algebra of G. So G is the underlying Lie algebra of finite type, finite dimensional Lie algebra. And then with the same data, Q quantization parameter, G, and now mu, we get this shifted quantum-affine algebra. So I will not give the complete definition. I will just say that it can be defined in terms of Drinfeld presentation, similarly to the Drinfeld presentation of quantum-affine algebra. But there is some variation that I will explain in one slide for people who are used to Drinfeld presentation. So the idea is the following. So let us recall that the quantum-affine algebra is a quantization of the enveloping algebra of the loop algebra. And so this loop algebra comes from the underlying finite type Lie algebra G, which has a Cartan subalgebra H. And this Cartan subalgebra has a corresponding Chevalier generator, which we did not traditionally HI. So there is one HI for each I between 1 and n, where n is the rank of the underlying finite dimensional Lie algebra G. And then there are corresponding loops of HI, that is to say, monomials in T with coefficient HI. So for each m, which is an integer, there is a HI tensor T to the m, which is an element of the loop algebra LG. And in the Drinfeld presentation of a quantum-affine algebra, there is a corresponding element in the quantum group, which is usually denoted by HIM. And it is sometimes called a Cartan-Drinfeld element, because it corresponds to a Cartan, an element in the Cartan algebra in the Drinfeld presentation. So now these elements usually are not considered individually, but it seems it is useful to look at certain generating series in these elements. So this is an example of such a generating series. So we take the generating series of these elements and then the exponential of it. And this element, which is denoted by phi I of z, is obtained for each I still in the Deakin diagram of G. And it is a formal power series in z-1 with coefficient in the quantum-affine algebra. So now the shift in the Finkelberg-Tymbaluk definition of the shifted quantum-affine algebra comes here. So this generating series do not have necessarily a constant term corresponding to a constant. It may start from a power of z, which could be positive or negative. So here you have this correction term with a power of z, and the power of z is obtained from the coefficient of the co-weight mu. So there is alpha I of mu here, which is an integer, and which could be positive or negative depending on mu. So this is the difference. And of course, when mu is equal to 0, we recover the essentially the ordinary quantum-affine algebra. Okay, so yes, this is what I just say. So UQ0 for 0 is essentially the quantum-affine algebra because there is no shift. So first, I would like to state a few, intermediate result, a proposition. So first, when mu is anti-dominant, then the Borel subalgebra, the quantum-affine Borel algebra of the quantum-affine algebra, which is in fact defined by using the positive generator in the Drinfeld-Jimbo presentation of the quantum-affine algebra, is a subalgebra of this shifted quantum-affine algebra. So, which is a good hint towards in fact, the relation between the representation theory of the two. And a second remark, let's say, is that in the SL2 case, and if we take the opposite of a fundamental co-weight, then there are families of evaluation morphisms to the Q oscillator algebra, which appeared in the Bajanov, Lukyanov, Zamolodchikov theory to study Q operators of quantum integrable models, which I mentioned at the beginning of these talks. So these morphisms can be seen as analogs of well-known evaluation morphism of Jimbo from a quantum affine algebra to a finite type quantum groups. So they exist, but now we have to not to use the quantum affine algebra, but the shifted quantum affine algebra with this specific shift. So it means that, so for the SL2 case, the pre-fundamental representation, the action is not extended to the quantum affine algebra, but to this shifted quantum affine algebra. Okay, so this is the first remark. Now, I would like to study a bit more exhaustively the representation of these algebras. And a part of this talk follows what is well known for sometimes for shifting Youngians. And there are some points I would like to emphasize and the difference between the two. So we take some mu in lambda. So it's possible to define a category O of this representation of UQ mu of G. So we follow the standard definition of category O, which is well known for shifted Youngians or quantum groups or quantum Borel algebras. That is to say, we impose that we consider representation with finite dimensional weight spaces. And there is some condition on the weights which can occur in the representation, which is a standard cone condition, like it's for the representation theory of classical Casmodi algebras. Okay, so there are, as I said, non-category O for shifted Youngians, but also for sometimes there is a category that I will denote O hat of representation of quantum affine algebra, and a category O that we had studied with Jimbo of representation of this Borel subalgebra of the quantum affine algebra. Okay, and I would like to first compare a bit what happens between the Borel algebra and the shifted quantum affine algebra. So we had obtained in 2012 parametrization of simple modules of the Borel algebra, which are in the category O. That is to say, which have this property to have finite dimensional weight spaces and so on. And we had obtained that the representation are parameterized by n tuple. So n is still the rank of the underlying finite type Lie algebra G. So n tuple of rational fractions. So we have psi n 1 of z, psi n of z. So each for each node of the Dygin diagram. And these rational fractions they have one condition: they are supposed to be regular at zero. So no pole or no zero at the origin. So this can be seen as some reminiscence of the Shary-Presley classification of finite dimensional representation of quantum affine algebra by Drinfeld polynomials. But here we have some more general representation. We have rational fraction in order to include in particular this representation studied by Bajanov, Lukyanov, Zamolodchikov that I mentioned previously. So an analog study can be done along the same line for shifted quantum affine algebra. It's quite parallel. There are some technical differences, but it's quite parallel. And we obtain an analog classification with n tuple of rational fractions, which are regular at zero. And there is a degree condition related to the weight mu. So each of the psi should have a degree which is governed by mu. So it is alpha I of mu. So the coefficient of mu on fundamental co-weight. Okay, so let me give an example. So the most elementary example is when we take all rational fractions equal to 1, except one of them, which is a polynomial of degree 1, as here. And so this is what were called pre-fundamental modules. So for when we use this psi, we get a representation for the shifted quantum affine algebra associated to the fundamental co-weight, and when it is the inverse, it is associated to the opposite of the fundamental co-weight. And in fact, so these examples were in fact studied very much in the case of Borel, the Borel algebra, but it appears that there are big differences between the case of shifted quantum affine algebra and the Borel. So when you look at this case of PCIA, in fact, for the Borel algebra, there are of infinite dimension. But in the case of shifted quantum affine algebra, there are of dimension 1. So also the parametrization is the same, and there are some relations that I will explain. The structure might be different. So this is a bit extreme case, but this can be observed. However, so there are functors that can be constructed, and this is one result that I will state in this form, that it's possible to define induction and restriction functors from the category O. So here the category O is a representation of the Borel algebra, still UQB affine of the quantum affine algebra. And there are functors for O mu, it is a category O for UQ mu, the shifted quantum affine algebra, from O mu to O and from O to O mu for each mu. So I did not explain here precisely how these functors are defined, but it works well. And in fact, using what is known for the category O, I can get some results for the shifted quantum affine algebra. So first example, let's say like as a remark. So if we take anti-dominant weights, I just stated previously that then UQ mu contains the Borel subalgebra, and it can be proved that LP is still simple when it is reduced to the Borel algebra. So this is what happens. And so let me give a theorem which can also be obtained using these functors. Second theorem, it's possible to parameterize finite dimensional representation, which appears in this context. So in fact, it can be proved that this algebra has a non-zero finite dimensional representation if and only if mu is dominant. And in this case, there is a parametrization about finite dimensional representation, which is quite explicit in terms of the form of this psi. So psi is, if you remember, this n-tuple of rational fractions. And they should be a particular product of various psi and some quotient of the psi. So it's slightly technical, but it can be easy to characterize simple finite dimensional representation among all simple representation of the category O. So in fact, for type ADE and shifted Yangians, it is already known. There is a known classification of simple finite dimensional representation, which is compatible with this parametrization. And also this results generalizes Shary-Presley results for the ordinary quantum affine algebra. So for the ordinary quantum affine, there is no psi which is alone and just such quotient which appear. So now that we have this, so we have nice categories that we can study. So first, what I denote by OSH, so it is the sum of all the category O mu for all mu. It contains the sum of the category for mu, which is dominant here, and which contains the category of finite dimensional representation of all these shifted quantum affine algebras. So we have these abelian categories that we can try to understand. And so this is the third part of my talk. I would like to see how it behaves relatively to tensor products. So a priori, as far as I know, there is no, coproduct which is defined in the ordinary sense for all shifted quantum affine algebra. However, as it was already observed by Finkelberg and Cymbaluk, it's possible to make sense of what is called the Drinfeld coproduct for quantum affine algebra, and it is so it is not a coproduct for one specific shifted quantum affine algebra. We have to take mu and mu prime to coates, and then we have a map from the quantum group associated to mu plus mu prime, then to mu and mu prime. And, so it is a well-defined. So it is a algebra morphism, and it is well-defined up to a completion of the tensor product. So the tensor product has to be completed. And this is already something which is well known for affine quantum groups. That Drinfeld coproduct involves some infinite series, and so we have to do a completion. And in fact, the fact that we have some completion of the tensor product leads to some technical difficulties. And in particular, it's not possible to use it directly to define tensor product of finite dimensional representation, for example. So at some point, I had studied how to make sense of tensor product of representation using such Drinfeld coproduct. And it appears that the same technique that I had called deformation renormalization works. And from this, it's possible to induce a ring structure on the sum of the Grothendieck group of the category OMU. So this this Grothendieck group of the big category OSH has a ring structure which comes from the Drinfeld coproduct. Also, it's not completely attached to some tensor category, but it's possible to make sense of at least of the tensor product of two simple representations. So the ring structure is well defined, and it contains in particular as a subring the Grothendieck group of finite dimensional representations, which I denoted by CSH. So C is for finite dimensional representation, and O for the whole category, Okay, and so now it's possible to look at this in the context of cluster algebras. So this is something we had studied intensively with Bernard Leclerc for quantum affine algebra, and a part of the theory can be seen in this context, and for some aspect it is slightly more natural. So I would like to explain this. So first, I will give a quick reminder on cluster algebra of one slide. So we start from some quiver Q, and then there is a natural cluster algebra AQ in the sense of Fomin-Zelevinsky, a cluster algebra. So this cluster algebra is a subalgebra of commutative fraction field Q, Y1, Yn, and it is defined by a combinatorial process, which is the following. We start with some rational fraction, which are called initial cluster variables. So in this case, it's just the variables of the fraction field. And then from this, there is what is called the mutation process, which depends on this quiver Q, which generates inductively new fraction field. And so it could give a finite number of fraction fields, or maybe an infinite number of fraction fields. But then we can look at the subalgebra generated by this fraction in this field. And this subalgebra is the cluster algebra associated to the quiver Q. So this theory of cluster algebra has been rapidly developed in various fields. And in particular, it is connected to representation theory. So there is a well-developed theory of categorification in terms of additive categories of representations. And so with Bernard Leclerc, we had studied categorification in terms of monoidal category of representation. And quantum group theory is good frameworks to produce interesting monoidal and tensor category. And so the axioms are the following. We said that monoidal category M is a monoidal categorification of cluster algebra AQ if there is a ring isomorphism between the cluster algebra AQ and the Grothendieck ring K of M. So this statement is a part of the statement, but a cluster algebra is more than an algebra. It is an algebra with distinguished set of generators, the cluster variables. And so this ring isomorphism has to be compatible with this structure. And there is a very natural requirement that this cluster variable should form a subset of the classes of simple modules. So when we are in such a situation, ring isomorphism with the cluster variables, so all cluster variables which are particular example of simple classes, we say that we have a monoidal categorification. Okay, and in fact, it works in this context of shifted quantum affine algebra by combining various non-results. So this is a third theorem I would like to state. So in fact, this statement that I will explain relies on various things. So first, the functors I mentioned, so which relates representation of this algebra to representation of Borel algebras. certain monoidal categorification results that we had obtained with Bernard Leclerc for representation of quantum-affine algebra, Borel algebra, and also some very recent result of Kashiwara, Kim, O, Park on a proof of conjecture we had stated for representation theory of quantum-affine algebras. So combining all these results, it's possible to establish the following. So if we take the Grothendieck ring of finite dimensional representation of all shifted quantum-affine algebra, for this category C-SH, then it is isomorphic to a certain cluster algebra, AQ, with an explicit quiver Q, in fact, that we had introduced with Bernard Leclerc. And this ring isomorphism defines a monoidal categorification. So this part relies in large part on the recent result of KKOP. So the simple classes contains cluster variables, and in fact also cluster monomials. And in fact, this cluster algebra is very natural because the initial seed is form of this prefundamental representation I mentioned. So these one-dimensional representations that I defined previously, which are representation for the shifted quantum-affine algebra attached to the fundamental co-weight omega I. But then when we look at tensor product of and so on, we have representation of more general shifted quantum-affine algebra. Okay, so this is the relation to cluster algebra theory I wanted to state. And then, so I would like also to discuss some things which is a bit closer to the initial motivation in terms of Coulomb branches, so which are truncations. So as I mentioned previously, it is expected that this shifted quantum-affine algebra are related to quantized Coulomb branch. And in this context, Finkelberg and Simberliuk define some truncation of shifted quantum-affine algebra, which follow the definition of truncated shifting Yangians. So the definition depends on some additional weight, mu, which is still a co-weight, weight of the Lagrange dual algebra, which is supposed to be dominant. And there are some additional parameters which can be packed in the forms of polynomials. So there are some polynomials Zi of Z. There is one polynomial for each node of the underlying Lie algebra G. And then, so it's compatible with mu in the sense that the degree of these polynomials is mu of alpha E. And then there is this truncated shifted quantum-affine algebra, which is a certain quotient of the quantum-affine algebra. And this weight lambda mu, so I wrote lambda, but it's new here, are analogs of the parameters of generalized slices in affine Grassmannian. So it's a way to see them. Okay, so I would like first to state a theorem. So the first point I is a point which is well known for shifted Yangians. In fact, for each of these truncation, there is a finite number of simple classes. Okay, so of course, each shifted quantum-affine algebra has infinitely many simple representation in the category O, but just a finite number of them descend to the truncation. And there is a slightly more precise statement that we can, in fact, relate the weight, the parameter of the simple modules which can be truncated to the truncation datum, Z, by some partial ordering. Okay, so this is, as I said, by the work of, in particular, Kaminzer, Tingley, Webster, Weeks, Jacobi, well known for shifting Yangians. And in particular, for simplified shifting Yangians, there is a very precise statement to know which simple modules descend to the truncation. So this is a theorem of KTWWY. And the answer is so it's a very nice theorem that could, in fact, give a parametrization of these simple modules in terms of some combinatorial data, which is called Nakajima monomial crystal. And in fact, this is related to the parametrization of connected component of quiver varieties. And in particular, the result can be interpreted in terms of a symplectic duality, which I mentioned in the following. So the simple modules of this truncated shifting jungions can be parameterized in terms of different variety. So strongly motivated by this result, I would like to propose a conjecture to parameterize simple module of truncated quantum shifted quantum affine algebra, which of non-simplized tape. So let me try to explain this conjecture. And so what happens here, what appears, and I will motivate this after, is that so it seems that we have to relate the parametrization to the Lagrange dual Lie algebra, but the Lagrange dual of the quantum affine algebra. So that is to say, here we have the twisted quantum affine algebra which appears here. So I'll try to explain this conjecture. So there is a bijection between simple classes of representation of truncated shifted quantum affine algebra on one side, and then the character, Q character, of certain representation of the Lagrange dual Lie algebra. So these representations are standard modules, which are tensor product of fundamental representations of this twisted quantum affine algebra. And in fact, it is strongly motivated by the previous result, because Nakajima monomial crystal is known to be related to Q character of standard modules for of ordinary quantum affine algebra. So here, so it's not only a conjecture about the bijection between the two, but I propose a process to know explicitly how this parametrization is obtained. And it appears to take into account what is called interpolating Qt characters, that I will recall in a few minutes, which appeared in the study of the Lagrange duality between representation of quantum affine algebra and this Lagrange dual. So let me a bit more precise about what I mean by explicitly. So in a work around 10 years ago with Edward Frenkel, we had introduced what we called interpolating Qt characters. So we were strongly inspired by the study of deformed W of algebras by Frenkel-Reshettykin. So these interpolating Qt characters are some characters which depend on two variables, Q and T, and they are designed to interpolate between the representation theory of some quantum affine algebra and its Lagrange dual. So the interpolation works by some specialization of parameters of this interpolating Qt characters. So in fact, it also depends on some alpha. So for some specific value, we get some character of one quantum affine algebra, and for some other specialization to the Lagrange dual, which is a twisted quantum affine algebra. And all this makes sense in the study of deformed W algebras. And in fact, what appears here is that there is another specialization which is relevant to state the conjecture, which I just mentioned. So it is not one of the specialization which we used at the time to do this interpolation, but a third specialization, and which seems to give the good parameters to know which simple representation correspond to a specific terms in the character of the representation of the shifted quantum affine algebra. So there are some evidences for this conjecture. The first one is the following. So Nakajima and Weeks for truncated shifting jungions obtain very strong results. So they obtain a bijection between simple module of simply laced shifting jungions and simple modules of non-simply laced shifting jungions. And so there is a possible relation of this with this conjecture. And in some correspondence with Nakajima, we try to, in some small dimension example, to make it work. And in fact, it matches exactly what I just proposed. In some examples we could compute. And okay. And to conclude, I would like to explain a theorem which supports this conjecture. In fact, this theorem, this is a complete theorem in the case of finite dimensional representation. So the conjecture itself is about category O, so not only simple representation. So it's for all. It's supposed to work and seems to work for all mu and all u. And of course, we can have a weaker conjecture where we suppose that the representations are finite dimensional. So so the statement is the following: that let's consider a simple finite dimensional representation of shifted quantum affine algebra, OQ mu. Then there is a truncation parameter mu and z, as in the conjecture. That is to say, they satisfy the condition involving the interpolating Qt character, so that this simple finite dimensional representation descends to the corresponding truncation. So this is true for any simple finite dimensional representation. In particular, the simple finite dimensional representation which take a role in this monoidal categorification results that I mentioned a few slides ago. And in fact, the proof uses the original motivation about quantum integrable systems, so which I try to explain in a few words. In fact, I mentioned that the representation of the Borel algebra are used to prove some polynomiality. So it is some polynomiality of some eigenvalues of some operators of the corresponding system that we had obtained with Edward Frenkel in 2015. And in fact, this polynomiality is related to the polynomiality of some series of elements in the quantum affine algebra. And now, if we look more precisely how the truncation of shifted quantum affine algebra are defined, they involve the polynomiality also of some generating series of some elements. So it appears that there is some relation between the two. And so the fact that some series of generators act polynomially on some representations, so the main result of this vector polynomiality can be interpreted in terms of the truncation of the shifted quantum affine algebra for finite dimensional representations. And using these results, we can establish that some of this simple finite dimensional representation descend to the truncation. But which is a bit, here we have to be very careful because there is this Langlands duality which appears here so that it works. Okay, so I was a little bit fast, but this is what I wanted to say. And the last slide is my little contribution to the Lumini atmosphere of this conference. Okay.
Thank you very much. What about the picture of Bouillabaisse?
I'm waiting for Thursday to
Okay. So there are some questions.
I have a question.
Please.
It's Joel. I was wondering, this fusion product that you mentioned, will it work for the shifted Yangians as well, do you think?
So it seems for the shifted Yangians, the situation is a bit different because as far as I know, there is already a coproduct which is well defined. Maybe you will correct me, but it's the problem with shifted quantum affine algebra is that there is no well-defined analog of Drinfeld-Jimbo coproduct for all types. For type A, there are some results of Finkelberg-Cymbaluk, but I think it's not known for all types. So the situation is a bit different. As far as I understand, for shifted Yangians, there is the ordinary coproduct. But the Drinfeld coproduct, I'm not sure it's well defined for already without the shift for Yangians, because it involves some, so you need some generating series with infinite sums, which are with positives and negative parameter, shift parameter. So it seems to me that this is more adapted in the case of quantum affine than for Yangians.
I mean, for Yangians, at least for the coproduct I know, it's not, I don't think the problem is that the tensor product of two category O modules won't necessarily be in category O, I think. That's.
Yeah, no, yeah, but here the point is that it's not clear how to define the action of the algebra a priori. If you take it's already a problem for quantum affine algebra. If you take the Drinfeld coproduct, in a very elementary example, you take two-dimensional evaluation representation of quantum affine algebra, then you take the Drinfeld coproduct, and then you get a divergency problem if you try to make it, if you try to make the tensor product of the two. So that's so in order to get rid of this, there is one proposal. What I did is try to deform the Drinfeld coproduct and then to try to get rid of the poles, which leads to this divergency problem, and then from it to construct a representation. So it's a bit indirect, but it allows at least to define a ring structure on the sum of the Grothendieck group. So this is in this case what I used. In the case of Jungians, I don't really know, but it seems to be that it's a bit different. But when it's well defined, it's not a problem to see that it is in the category one. That's because on the Cartan part, it is very easy to write.
Yeah, I see. Is this Drinfeld coproduct exist for the Yangians too, or is it something?
I don't think so, but maybe I'm wrong. But I would say it's no. So in fact, it would be easier to use the ordinary coproduct here, but it seems to be complicated to define. And so at least this gives a ring structure. So it is expected that at the level of the Grothendieck ring, it would give the same ring structure. So for example, for quantum affine algebra, if you use the ordinary coproduct or the Drinfeld coproduct, you get the same ring structure at the semi-simplified level. But in terms of category, it's a bit different. For example, it's well known that for the ordinary coproduct, the tensor product of two simple modules will not be necessarily cyclic. But for the Drinfeld coproduct, it will be always cyclic. So it's a bit different. But the image in the Grothendieck ring will be the same.
Other question?
Maybe I have a question. So when you state your result on monoidal categorification,
yeah.
So when you say that the Grothendieck ring KCSH is a cluster algebra, so is this a Grothendieck ring of a tensor category, or just?
I should say the Grothendieck group with the ring structure coming from the Drinfeld coproduct.
I see. So, but it's not clear that even the category of finite dimensional, that it is a tensor category.
No, it's not. No, it's not clear. If it's possible to define this analog of the ordinary coproduct, it should be okay. But yes, I don't know. That's why I did not state that we get a monoidal categorification. So I just said that the same properties and the simple classes contain the cluster variables. But we have a nice ring with the canonical basis of simple modules, as we expect from a monoid category. But yes, you're right. That's important. It will be interesting to get a tensor structure.
And just to be sure, also the initial seed that you describe, and this is the doubly infinite quiver, right?
It is exactly as.
Infinite in both directions.
In the case of SL2, for example, the quiver is just an infinite line in both directions, the top and the bottom. And at each node, we just put a one-dimensional prefundamental module, and so the polynomial will be 1 minus z q to the 2r. So as we did for the Borel algebra.
Thank you.
Does the quiver have frozen vertices? Any frozen vertices?
No. There is no. There are no.
Okay. Yes.
Yeah. This is already. So in the result I mentioned, we had obtained with Bernard Leclerc. We worked with So we had worked with a subcategory of the category O for the Borel algebra. And so this category O, through the functors that I mentioned previously, will correspond to finite dimensional modules of the shifted quantum affine algebra. But in some sense, this statement is slightly more natural than what we obtained, because when we worked with the Borel algebra, we had some problems of completion. So we had to handle some completion of the cluster algebra and also some completion of the Grothendieck ring, so that the two matches. But here it seems more natural because we just have the Grothendieck group and the cluster algebra. There are no completion involved, and they matches. So in some sense, it looks more natural that that for the category O of the Borel algebra. No frozen variable.
And I have a stupid question. There is a link between the category C shifted and the category of finite dimensional representation of all the quantum groups, or because you explained between the category O for shifted, the category O for Borel, but between the finite dimensional representations, there is some.
Yes, the ordinary quantum affine algebra is essentially the shifted quantum affine algebra corresponding to 0 weight. So in particular, if you look at the finite dimensional representation of ordinary quantum affine algebra, it is a subcategory of this category, which is much larger. So the new category contains, for example, this one-dimensional representation of shifted corresponding to the fundamental co-weight here that we have here. But yes, but we have already all the Drinfeld polynomial classification and so on. It is contained in this structure.
Okay.
So that, yeah. And as I said previously, not only it's contained, but also if you take a simple finite dimensional representation of the quantum affine algebra, it's known to be simple when it is reduced to the Borel. And so it will, yeah. So we have the same. So in terms of the combinatorics of the Grothendieck ring, of the Grothendieck group, we have also an inclusion of the Grothendieck ring of finite dimensional representation of ordinary affine quantum group in this larger Grothendieck ring on the basis of simple coincide. And in particular, it should be also a sub-cluster algebra of this cluster algebra. So that's why the results of Kashiwara, Kim Opark as useful in this statement.